Have you ever realized that your kindness, once your greatest strength, has become an open door for others to step in and take advantage of? They're not always obviously bad. They just ask a little at first, then a bit more, and then they cross the line, until you're drained but still smiling. In today's video, I want to share a true story from someone who's 74 years old and has lived nearly a full life before realizing this. There are 5 types of people you should never be kind to if you want to protect your own peace. If you've ever felt used just because you're a kind person, stay until the end of this video, because this might be the turning point that helps you live more lightly, more freely. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you won't miss valuable lessons like this one. There is a type of person you won't realize is draining your energy, at least not at first. They don't constantly complain like the first type. They're not intentionally manipulative like the second type. But they share one very specific trait. In their world, you are not the main character. You're just a supporting role who shows up when they need you. When they're sad, you're the comforter. When they're happy, you're the audience. When they need something, you're the one who shows up immediately. But when you need a hug, a kind word, a little care, they suddenly disappear. At first, you don't think much of it. Maybe they're busy. Maybe you're just being too sensitive. But over time, you begin to realize something sad. Every conversation revolves around them. Every message, every call, every meetup is about their life. And when you start to share something about yourself, they change the subject. Or they deflect. Or worse, they compare your problems to theirs, and then go right back to their own story. If this sounds familiar, know this. You are not asking too much for wanting to be treated fairly. You're not selfish for wanting someone to truly listen to you. Friendship and relationships, at any age, require reciprocity. If you're always the one listening, supporting, and showing up, then you deserve someone who does the same for you. I remember when I was around 70, I had a close friend named Elaine. We'd known each other since high school. Every phone call, she would go on and on about her life, how her daughter was doing, how her retired husband was adjusting, what the neighbors were up to. I listened, I shared, I empathized. But one day, I told her I was worried about a minor health issue, and right after I finished speaking, she cut in, "Oh, that's nothing. I've had this knee problem for 2 years now." And then she continued talking about herself. That was the moment I realized, to her, my worries didn't matter. I wasn't someone to be cared for, I was someone to talk at. That made me reflect deeply. I didn't blame Elaine, she's not a bad person. But I began to understand that some people unconsciously build their worlds around themselves, and if you're too kind, you get pulled into that world, swept away by their priorities. Your presence becomes a tool, not a connection. So I started doing something I once thought was selfish. I stepped back. I stopped initiating calls. I didn't reply to texts immediately. I gave myself space to think, to breathe, to recover. And magically I felt lighter. I no longer had to brace myself before every conversation. I no longer felt guilty for needing a little time for myself. You know what? There's one truth I wish I had understood sooner. Not everyone you care about deserves your time, energy, and kindness. Kindness is a gift. And like any gift, it should be given to those who appreciate it, not to those who only take. Take a moment to think about the people in your life. Who makes you feel heard, seen, and respected? And who makes you feel small, invisible, or like a shadow in their life? This isn't about blaming. It's about realizing that you have the right to choose. You have the right to walk away from emotional cycles that drain you. You have the right to put yourself first. If you're still watching this, I'm truly grateful. It means you're not just listening, you're seeking change. And I want you to know, that change starts with small things. A gentle no, a notification turned off. A step back from conversations that don't make you feel good. That's how you begin to rebuild boundaries, not to push people away, but to protect the most valuable parts of yourself. Your peace, your time, and your genuine kindness. If you feel like something I shared today touched something inside you, leave a comment with the number 3 below. It lets me know you're still here, still walking this journey with me. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I invite you to do so now, not just to stay updated with future videos, but to help build a community where kindness is respected and where goodness isn't taken for granted. We'll continue with the 4th type of person, And I think you'll find them very familiar. There's a kind of person who never directly asks you to sacrifice anything. They don't yell, they don't accuse. But they leave behind a lingering echo, a quiet sense that being true to yourself is somehow wrong. Maybe you've met someone like that. Maybe it was a relative, a friend, or someone who used to be very close to you. They don't say, "You're wrong for living this way." But they sigh. They turn away. They stay silent in moments that should have been shared joy. And gradually, you start to censor your own happiness. You laugh less, share less, diminish your achievements, just so someone else doesn't feel left behind. I once had an old friend like that. We were close for nearly 30 years, sharing the ups and downs of life. But when I began to change, started taking care of myself, exercising, traveling, learning new skills, she seemed to withdraw. Not with anger, but with coldness. With vague comments like, "I feel like we used to be closer," or, "You probably have more interesting friends now." At first, I felt selfish. I even considered giving up some of my personal goals just to keep the friendship. But then I realized, true friendship doesn't require you to shrink yourself so that someone else can feel okay. If your growth hurts someone, the problem isn't your growth, it's their choice not to grow with you. And it's not your responsibility to drag them along if they don't want to walk. We're often taught that loyalty means holding on to every relationship, no matter what. But true loyalty is not about staying stuck. It's about being honest. It's the courage to look at reality and say, "I still care about you, but I can't keep sacrificing myself to stay in this relationship." When you begin to change for the sake of life, for health, peace, and goodness, you'll notice something strange. The people who truly love you will celebrate with you. And the ones who only loved your old self, the weaker, more controllable version, will see you as a threat. And that hurts. No one says it's easy. Letting go of someone who once felt like home is not heartless. It's a painful kind of growth. It's accepting that some paths, even if they ran parallel for a long time, must eventually split so each person can reach their own destination. I remember the moment I saw someone's eyes dim as I shared an exciting project I was working on. They smiled, but it was a forced smile. I realized they were no longer there to share joy, only to measure how much they were losing to me. That was no longer the presence of a friend. That was silent comparison, the kind that quietly kills a friendship. From that, I learned this lesson. Not everyone can handle your light. And that doesn't mean you should dim it. It simply means you need to find the right place to shine. You are not selfish for wanting a meaningful life. You are not wrong for daring to be happy, for being different, for pursuing something good. If you constantly feel the need to apologize for what makes you feel truly alive, maybe you're apologizing to the wrong person. Kindness isn't about pleasing everyone. It's about being real, being kind to yourself first. And from that fullness, you share your kindness with the world. Not through obligation, but through freedom. When I stopped apologizing for my joy, I found peace. When I stopped justifying my decision to live well, I saw who genuinely stayed. And from the pieces that remained, fewer, but more sincere, I built a life that no longer depended on the approval of others. You can do the same. Not with bitterness, but with clarity. Understanding that loyalty to others should never override honesty with yourself. That love isn't about keeping something alive that's already gone. And that sometimes, the kindest thing you can do for both of you is to walk away. I used to think that saying no was an unkind act, that if I refused someone, they would see me as selfish, ungrateful, or even heartless. But as the years passed, I realized, not everyone deserves my companionship, and not every no is a closed door. Sometimes, it's the beginning of a truly meaningful chapter. At the age of 74, I've come to understand that real kindness doesn't lie in how much you give, but in how much you still have left for yourself after giving. I used to feel drained by one-sided relationships, where I was always the one who listened, who understood, who endured, and never received the same in return. I clung to politeness as an excuse to keep sacrificing myself. But you know what? One day, I woke up and realized, the peace within me matters more than any praise or approval from the outside world. We are taught that being a good person means always smiling, always being helpful, always staying soft in every situation. But the truth is, sometimes, the kindest person is the one who dares to walk away when they're being taken for granted. The one who knows how to protect themselves before they break under the weight of unmet expectations. And I'm writing this not to make you colder or more closed off, but to remind you, kindness is not surrender. It is a conscious choice, made from a strong heart that knows its own worth. You have the right to be selective. You have the right to protect your energy. And more importantly, you have the right to stop holding on to people who only show up when they need something, but disappear when you're in pain. Because when you stop trying to please everyone, you finally start being pleased with yourself. You return to a stillness where no explanations are needed, where you can breathe, be yourself, and be loved without sacrificing your inner peace. If you're hearing this, remember, your peace is not a bargaining chip. It is the foundation from which you live a meaningful and whole life. And only when you start saying no, truthfully, can you truly say yes to a life worth living. We know you carry your own deep lessons. So today, what part of this message made you think the most? Leave a comment below. Tell us, what will you do to protect your own kindness? Because when you share, you're not just healing yourself, you're also inspiring so many others who need a reason to begin their own change.